And we are live. Welcome back to the Wager Wise MMA podcast, episode 40. Episode 40 tonight. How you doing, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm great. Episode 40 already. Wow.
Yes, sir. It is. We are flying through almost a whole year into doing this. Most weeks, not every week, but most weeks. Looking forward to when we hit that 52. We'll have to do something special. Don't know why this keeps fucking out, but this week we have UFC Fight Night, Bonfim versus Brown. Again, it's one of those cards that is not particularly high on name value, but again, I think there's quite a few fun fights. How did you think last week went?
Yeah, last week was really good. Finished up 2 units. However, a lot of fuckery in that card, from fixed fights to just referee fuck ups. Was caught on the wrong end of both those fights, and yeah, hopefully it's not a common thing going forward, because I'm a fan first before a betting man, and seeing the sport go this direction with all these referee and official fuck ups and just fuckery in general.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's just it's frustrating more than anything. Like, we obviously message back and forth and just chatting about things, and same as you. Like, I'm a fan of the sport first, a better second, and it's the only word that comes to mind is just frustrating. It's really frustrating when you get fucked on these bets, as well as just as a fan when you see this. The fuckery is a great word, because it's it's a lot of varied fuckery, but it's all fuckery, and it's just super frustrating and annoying as a fan. And I'm kind of glad that the FBI is investigating all this bullshit that's going on, particularly with the fixed fights, or getting paid to throw fights or whatever it may be. I'm glad it's happening, because I'm fucking over it. I really am. It's a shame that this stuff happens. I mean, there's going to be a crowd that argue that the fighters don't get paid enough, so that's why they have to potentially do something like this. And I hope that's not I hope that's not the case. Like, for me, it's a shame, because Bulgarian is he's a really talented guy, and this isn't to say he's guilty or necessarily has done anything, but if it is true what has happened, then it's a shame, because he's a really talented fighter who has a really high ceiling. Like, I think he's genuinely elite in a couple of areas in the sport. Like, not to say he would ever touch gold, but you can't argue that he had elite wrestling, elite pressure, elite takedowns, several elite areas in the game, and would have gone pretty far in the division. And now he's out in his ass, which is a shame. I remember watching a podcast of him when he said the whole reason he got into this was because he wanted to provide for his girlfriend. He lived in an RV outside of his gym, had a dog, like all this sorts of stuff. Now the guys even in the UFC won't ever fight MMA again. It's just a damn shame, and it really is just shameful that it has come to this point. And hopefully things get back on the right track, because as a fan, it's fucking annoying. As a bettor, it's infinitely more annoying. I guess it's just something you have to take into your handicapping when you do.
Unfortunately,
yeah, when you do this moving forward. That's all. That's really my main thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the reasons you listed above, how Bulgarian is absolutely elite in grappling, are the same reasons why people do believe it's a fixed fight, given the result.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the fixed fight necessarily. Like, I feel like it maybe was more injury news than anything, because it didn't look particularly fixed. Like, I've seen fixed fights before, and look, did he not fight the hands? Like, does it matter? We've seen people not fight hands before. I get he's a high level guy. I don't know. It seems that maybe it's not that necessarily cut and dry to me, with it just being a fixed fight.
Yeah.
I've seen worse, situations than that's happened. But yeah, it's tough scenes all around, to be honest. And I don't know if you saw Dana came out this morning and addressed it all.
Yeah.
So they're clearly going hard on this, and I'm glad they are, because it's a stain on the sport. It's a stain on the community, and I hope it gets straightened out.
Yeah, how about all the idiot fighters that are coming out saying, "Oh, I got approached.
Bro,
it's like
what? You keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, do you want the feds to fucking be at your door interviewing you and doing all this shit? Fuck that. Be quiet.
No, they will be.
Yeah, they will be now for sure. So, I mean, I guess it's not a bad thing, because maybe it gets weeded out. But this is high level stuff. This isn't just some fucking junkie off the street who's gone, I can make some money. This is high level potentially criminal ring cartel shit, like high level shit. Like Chirez, I think he's an idiot for coming out and saying that. He lives in fucking Mexico. His family is from Mexico. I don't know. Brave but silly, I think.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's just what it is. All right. Anyway, let's not get too sidetracked. I mean, we're both pretty passionate about the sport, so I'm sure we could rant and rave about this sort of stuff all night. This week we have Gabriel Bonfim, Randy Brown main event. We're going to go bottom to top, analyze predictions, bets, all ready to go. Ready to get into it?
Yes, sir.
Do this. All right. First fight. This is not the first fight. This is a cancelled fight. Maybe we'll just fill in the other one very quickly. I'm not even sure if I have odds on it is the only thing. No, I can't see odds. Obviously, this one's got replaced last minute with Jackson McVeigh versus Dante Johnson, who just fought over the weekend. I actually had a bet on McVeigh in this one at +150. I was pretty interested to have a go on him. I think finishing upside was all on his side. It's a completely different fight with Dante Johnson now. He's coming in against McVeigh's coming in against an explosive guy who's going to take his head off most likely. Has more strength to grapple. McVeigh's only chance is to sort of be a dummy and fight late and maybe take over. But I sort of just think Johnson comes in and does what he does.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Johnson will just come in and overwhelm him. I think it'll go similar to the Bruno Ferreira fight. Either get him to the ground or just do what he does and rush at him with like a flurry of punches. He is very upright.
Yeah.
And he just kind of just stays there with his head in the center as he's moving back. He is good with his distance control. That's why I thought he had a good chance against Robert Valentin, who kind of just crashes into the pocket. I like Jackson McVeigh's body kicks, and I like his check right hook. And the thing with McVeigh is whenever like the neck appears, whether they're standing, like whether his opponent crashes into the pocket with their like head down or like they're like clinching against the fence, whenever that neck like presents itself, he'll just go for that choke. And I did see a finishing sequence against Robert Valentin, like either a TKO with like through knees, like as he's standing up, like holding like a guillotine and then just landing knees, or just going to the ground, maybe attacking a DAS. I don't think he's going to do that to Dante Johnson. I think Dante Johnson will just put him out in the first round.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like McVeigh's sort of only chance in this fight is if Johnson takes it to the ground and he gets like some meme submission, but I think it's probably mostly Johnson in this one. All right, let's keep it moving up the card. To bantamweight, we have Miles Johns 15-4 taking on Daniel Marcos 17-1. Prices we have. I feel like this is a pretty generous price tag, to be honest. Daniel Marcos -170. So. The comeback on Miles Johns +145. You can lead us off on this one, my bro.
Yeah, this is another newly made fight where both their opponents pulled out of their respective bouts. I'll be honest, I'm familiar with these two enough to not want to be involved at all in a betting side. Like I know Marcos seems like a generous number, but they both fight in incredibly close margins. Like I believe this fight will be a 29-28 and potentially even a split decision. Like Miles Johns, good chance he'll win the first round because he's very much on point in the first rounds of his fights. But he does tend to step off the gas. And Daniel Marcos, he starts fights like pretty slow and very tentative, like mostly spending the early parts like getting a feel for his opponent and then looking to open up more. He'll probably win the third round at a high clip, given he's like throwing a lot of output by then and Johns will already be fading. And it just comes down to the second round. And who knows? I like Marcos' style more. He's more technical and composed. I like that he times his opponent's attacks to slip or roll under and then unload heavy punches off that. And Johns does swing wide and heavy. So I do see Marcos having success there. But Johns is also pretty good at countering and throwing flurries off his opponent's like singular attacks. And his aggression may give him good optics against Marcos's more calm pace. So yeah, honestly, fuck picking a side for me. If you're passionate on either side, just take the straight decision line. I'll probably have a small stab at fight ends by split decision, and I'll definitely be parlaying the over 2.5s and fight goes the distance.
Yeah, okay. You got a bit more conviction on this one than I do. Like, I'm with you. Like, I feel like we've seen enough from both of these guys, and obviously Johnson's got more fights in UFC, but I feel like we've seen enough of both fight styles to kind of know what to expect here. And I think Marcos is just going to dominate this with, maybe not dominate, it's probably the wrong word, but I think he's going to win this just with volume and being quicker and more technical, to be honest. Like, Johns may have some success wrestling early, but he just slows down 2-3. And I think Marcos's just output is just going to carry him through. He throws straight better. I think he's going to hit the target better. Miles Johns can crack sometimes, but I'll be surprised if he knocked Marcos out. So it feels like his only equity is really round one. If it goes, I almost want to bet Marcos 2-3 because I know he's going to be there. He's going to be the one throwing. And I kind of play it against Johns most of the time to try and get one. And he's been hard. He's one of those fighters that's like hard to catch. Looks like he should be finished in 2-3, but seems to carry on. So there's a couple of big numbers getting around. Marcos 2 is like plus 1,000. Marcos round 3 is plus 1,200. There's a couple of big numbers getting around there. I don't mind that look. Again, it's probably going to be a tough watch, but yeah, I kind of think Marcos is just going to do more in every area and win the fight, probably by decision, but maybe a late stoppage as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think highly of Miles Johns at all, but he has a way of just hanging in there and keeping it somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
So
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I think Marcos like way high ceiling though, to be honest.
Oh wait, yeah.
Okay, let's keep it moving up the card. We have next women's strawweight, Tisha Pennington, 15-7, taking on Denise Gomez, 11-3. Prices we have. Denise Gomez, minus 180-ish, somewhere around there. The comeback on Tisha Torres, plus 155, 160, somewhere in that realm. Okay. This is one that I'm like intrigued by, but I kind of think I'm just going to pass. Like, I want to be on the Tisha side. Look, I get she's old and she's a little bit weathered and she's been through, pregnancy and all that sort of shit. But she's the much better overall MMA fighter in this fight, in my opinion. Like, her output, far better. Her technical ability, way better. Her kicks, way better. But Gomez is just, like, so physical and such a beast in there that I kind of think that she's going to be the one with big moments and Pennington's going to be the one winning minutes. So it's kind of like one of those toss-up fights where it's like, where do you go? Do you go the moments or the minutes? I don't think Gomez is going to finish her, which makes me hesitant enough to stay off the Gomez side. Like, if she had really big finishing upside in this fight, I'd probably be more intrigued by her number, but I don't think she does. And I think Tisha late is going to be, the one with more juice. So it's kind of an ugly one. I think Gomez might be able to like hold her against the fence at times and just use her strength and pure physicality to hold her there and be a bit boring at times as well. So yeah, I kind of think, like, I want to be on the Tisha side, and if she was just like a bit bigger and a bit more stronger, I'd kind of be a little bit more intrigued. But the physicality and the athleticism is really the main thing that's keeping me off. So yeah, I'm kind of happy just to pass on this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I wanted to get to a Tisha Pennington side as well, but 11-year age difference, and Pennington, she's built her style around being faster and hard to track down. I like that she moves around a lot. I like her blitzing style of coming in with 5 to 6 punch combos, and she does stay busy in that 15 minutes. But I think where she struggles is when she's up against superior strikers with sharp counters, a lot of volume, and can get their timing on her, like Joanna and Marina Rodriguez, and against girls who impose their physicality on her, like Ricci, Dern, Weili Zhang, and Andrade. And I tend to think Denise Gomes fits the latter. She's definitely very strong, physical, and I think there's going to be a lot of clinching against the fence in this fight. And if it's a lot of clinching against the fence, I think she wins minutes just off that and like landing little shots there. But yeah, Denise, she does have heavy hands. Like, sure, Tisha can blitz in and land 4 to 5 punches that like tag her up, but I think Gomez can also like change the tide with a well-timed overhand over the top that just fully like rocks her. Like, she doesn't give the best optics when she gets hit, Pennington, but she is very tough in there. And I really wanted to get to a Tisha Pennington spot, but I ended up on Gomez. I think she's right to win this, probably like a 29-28, just through clinch control times, bigger moments, and I do think the moments where Tisha is successful can be outdone by a well placed like right hand down the middle that kind of rocks her. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Denise Gomez wins this one.
I know. I just wish Tisha had a little bit more finishing upside because then you could get a bit more interested in her line here. But she's very unlikely to finish Gomez, so you have to kind of rely on her to really, win 2 rounds out of 3. And yeah, I think it's a tough bet to make, to be honest.
Yeah, 13 decisions of her 15 wins.
Yep.
So
All right, up to heavyweight, we have Josh Hockett 6-0 taking on Max Jimenez, I believe is how you pronounce it. Prices, we have Josh Hockett minus 400 and Max Jimenez currently at plus 300. We've talked about this one off stream, so I might take the lead if that's all right with you.
Yeah, go for it, my friend.
Okay. Agro Fighting. Hello. Nice to see you, my friend.
How you doing, brother?
Okay, let me just pull my notes up on this one. Okay. All right, I'll start with Hockett. I don't know how to feel about Hockett, to be quite honest. He does remind me of like a White Jalton Almeida type for heavyweight, where he's, a little bit undersized, uses his speed and his takedown ability to get fights to the ground and really just, get on top and maul these unathletic heavyweights. His offensive speed and ability to get to the hips is really impressive. I actually thought his ability to finish takedowns and really, control on the mat wasn't great on Contender Series, especially against a, fat spastic like Uriel. I was kind of waiting for him to kind of gas. This is Hockett. I was kind of waiting for him to gas and get finished, but he was able to get, plenty of mat returns and really rely on his wrestling. I do think against a better wrestler who can sprawl and really force his own game, he would have had an issue in that fight. Unfortunately, the opponent on Contender Series really had nothing to offer post 5 minutes, and he quit in that second round. So we didn't get to see him truly tested. So I'm in a real big watch this Hockett space. To be honest, I'm not sold on him, and minus 400 on him against anyone at this point, I think is pretty outrageous, to be honest. On to Jimenez. Look, it's kind of a random signing overall. He is a decent BJJ name who has competed in some decent tourneys to mixed success. I'd say his last notable fight in that area would be against Nicky Rod at CGR 1. It was a decent performance and a decent overall look for heavyweight, in my opinion. Very hard to find footage of his last 2 MMA fights. I think they're on his Instagram, but yeah, again, it's not the greatest quality. He's a large heavyweight. He wasn't overly outsized by Dan Manasau in their fight, who's 6'7", and he had Nicky Rod covered for height. So I assume that he's minimum 6'4", maybe 6'5", and he's fucking thick. So a couple of big ticks there for me. He's got good offensive wrestling. He controls position very well on the mat, and from top, he's extremely hard to get off the top of you. His single leg defense versus Nicky Rod was extremely solid. He was very strong. He relied on the wizard control paired with foot sweeps to really just ragdoll and toss Nicky Rod around at points. So very impressive to me there. I think there's going to be a large strength differential versus Hockett. He also used deep half guard positionally to stand up versus Rod. Again, that's a big tick. If he can get those legs in that position and use his strength to throw Hockett off, I think there's a big world in which that happens. Look, I do think he'll slow down as the fight goes on, but that's not necessarily unique for heavyweight with that trait. So I don't think it's the worst thing. I think Hockett slowed down his last fight as well. So going to be interesting. But overall, this is a really easy click for me. Hockett is going to be more offensive for sure, but I'm relatively confident that Jimenez's size, strength, experience will be a pretty tough test for Hockett here in his career. Hockett's best attribute here is going to be speed. And look, would I be surprised if he caught Jimenez, with some boxing early? No, not necessarily. We haven't seen a whole lot of striking from Jimenez, but if Hockett wants to wrestle and grapple like he historically has, I think he's going to have some issues in the first 2 rounds. It's easy dog or pass here for me at the number. I'm pretty happy to play the dog. So I've got 1.25 units on Jimenez at $4.40 or plus 340.
Yeah, I got nothing more to add. I have 1 unit on Jimenez. Based on our conversation this morning, you pretty much covered all everything that we talked about, and he passed the eye test. I watched that grappling match that he had, and from my memory of Josh Hockett, I really wasn't impressed by his contender series fight. If anything, like the only thing memorable was his interview afterwards,
speech.
his speech,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think Jimenez is a good spot at this number. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like the main thing that sticks out to me is like the way that Hockett wrestles, right? He's, double leg, single leg blast kind of things. And Jimenez had no issue with Nicky Rod, who was doing that. He would literally toss him around like a rag doll. I don't think I don't think he's 42. Someone in the chat said he's 42. I don't not. Is he 42?
32.
32. Yeah, he's not 42. But honestly, I don't know how you can watch that Nicky Rod fight and be interested in Hockett here. Like, just the way he's able to scramble on the mat, Jimenez, I think he's going to give Hockett definitely some issues. So, I mean, at plus 340, how wrong can you be, to be quite honest?
Yeah, exactly. If he gets clipped in the first round and put away, it is what it is. But if he goes deep, then I like his chances.
Yeah, I don't think you can be too wrong with that number. So it's a pretty easy click for me here. I go fighting Josh. Max is 42. Josh is 27. Never mind, he's 32. Lol. Yeah, no, 32. And I think a pretty good bet this weekend. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, up the card, we have women's bantamweight. We got MBS, Mara Bonasilva, 10-5-1, taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti, 9-1. Prices, we have Cavalcanti minus 255. The comeback on MBS is plus 215. Ryan, who wins this fight, my friend?
I got to go with Cavalcanti. Like, other than MBS having a high-level submission game, she's not a good mixed martial artist, in my opinion. She's pretty much grapple or bust. I couldn't handle watching too much tape on her, but a minute of each round of the Pennington and Jasudavicius fight was enough for me. Cavalcanti is very solid. Like, she's on a 7-fight win streak. She hasn't beaten anyone amazing, and I'm unsure of her ceiling in the division because the bantamweight division the women's bantamweight division is easily the most shallow division in probably the entire sport.
Definitely.
And Bueno Silva got a title shot after beating Yanan Wu, Stephanie Yeager, and Landsberg. She also, I think she had a win against Holly Holm that got overturned because of failed drug test, but she got rewarded with a title shot right after that. Got to think even like Cavalcanti, like with a win here, could be close to a title shot. Who knows? Stylistically, I do believe this is going to be a tough matchup for MBS to find success in. Cavalcanti is shown to be a very skilled striker, very technical, fast and accurate with her punches and kicks, has a good work rate through 15 minutes, and she is elusive with her footwork, pretty much the exact opposite of MBS. Like, she does have power, she's strong and close, but I think she's too flat-footed, slow and sloppy with her strikes, and she's there to be hit. She looked at her all-time worst in her last fight against Jasmine Jasudavicius, a weight class down, who she made Jasmine look like a fluid striker there. And I don't think she'll be able to track down Cavalcanti. Like, I just see Cavalcanti touching her up and cruising her way to a 30-27 win. I know Cavalcanti is winning by small margins at times. Like, she had that split decision with Cornell and Josiah Nunes, but I think she gets a clean one here. I don't like that Bueno Silva went down in weight and now she's like back up in weight after like a unsuccessful like fight there. It just shows me that she's kind of like unsure where she's at in her career, just giving things a go. And Cavalcanti seems to like be seems to be very serious about her career and still very young. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cavalcanti here.
Yeah, I'm with her. It's pretty hard to get interested at MBS at this point in her career. Like, career trajectory is just completely different. I mean, this is a big step up in competition, I would say, for Cavalcanti. But other than that, like, yeah, career trajectory is not even close. There's 6 years age difference. Cavalcanti, the much more fluid striker. I mean, if this goes to ground early, it is potentially interesting. Like, MBS she won't die wondering. Like, she'll jump submissions and she'll give herself a chance, especially early. But I feel like after 5 minutes, she does tend to slow down. I think Cavalcanti might just pick her apart on the feet, just be too fast, too clean, footwork too good. Like, the under 2.5 is a fucking massive number. It's like plus 300. You don't really see under 2.5s at that number. I get why, because Cavalcanti hasn't, finished in the UFC so far, but I don't mind it. Like, when you have these striker versus grappler sort of matchups, it does tend to be a little bit more violent, given that they're, stronger in one area for each woman. So I don't hate that look. I think it probably more likely goes to decision. But again, at plus 300, how wrong can you really be? But yeah, I think Cavalcanti just wins. It's a hard one to get to MBS for mine.
Yeah, you never know. Like Buena Silva has had like cuts around the face. Like she had that
Yeah.
who was it? Macy Kiyosan.
Yep.
Right? And Cavalcanti, like she does have heavy hands. Like I remember watching tape on Melissa Croden. Got
Yeah.
dropped. She dropped Melissa Croden like 5 times in like.
Yeah, and she attacks the body really well. I could see that like really hurting MBS later, like some body kicks, putting her down, finishing up. I could also see MBS jump at a guillotine round 1 potentially, sort of thing. So I think there's a couple of ways it could happen, but yeah, it's not a super strong read. MBS got passed by the evolution of the game. I think that's a pretty fair statement, to be honest.
Very accurate.
Very, very fair. Okay, up the card we have Bantamweight. Adrian Yanez taking on Christian Quinones.
I think this fight's off.
This is off?
I think it is.
Is that new?
Yeah, like last night. Hold up.
I definitely missed that if that's the case.
Give me a second to confirm.
Yeah, you're good. Anyway, prices were or are minus 210 Adrian Yanez. The comeback on Quinones plus 180.
Yep, can confirm it's off.
Boo. Okay. All right. Well, we don't have to. We don't. So who pulled out?
Quinones.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I mean, I thought Yanez was probably going to win that one. To be honest, I was on his side. I didn't have a bet on him or anything, but look, I thought Quinones maybe had a chance because he does throw straight and has some okay leg kicks. And there's two things that have really, Yanez has struggled with. But I think that Quinones is kind of more Vinicius Salvador than he is like Jonathan Martinez or Daniel Marcos. So, yeah, I was on the Yanez side there. Who are you on?
I was on Yanez, but I tried to give Quinones every reason to like maybe have some success here. But it just comes down to Adrian Yanez just being that bit more faster and explosive, and Quinones he's just there to be hit.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think he has the style. Like Yanez is very flawed fighter. Can't get behind him at minus 200 and above, even against Quinones. But I just think Yanez would have beaten the shit out of him.
I'm interested to see if they put a replacement in because I feel like they'll have a big number on Yanez, and there could be a potential for a nice fade. Like I'm on the fade Yanez side as well. I have been for quite a while, so I think maybe that's an area. It depends he gets replaced, if he gets replaced. But if it's anyone who's got decent straight shots and some leg kicks, I think it's probably a bit of value.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, still on Google, but I don't know. Dang, was it injury?
I think injury. Yeah, it's on Tapology. Just says Quinones withdrew, and then on Twitter they're just saying they're finding a replacement.
Bummer. That would have been a good one. All right, up the card to a good one in my opinion. Featherweight, our boy Hyder Amil, 11-1, the Hurricane. There's a hurricane coming through. Taking on Jamall Emmers, 21-8. Prices, we have Hyder Amil slight to moderate favorite, minus 150, 55, somewhere in that area. Jamall Emmers plus 135. Ryan, you're Filipino. He's Filipino. Take this one. Take this one down, my bro.
I think it's obvious which side I'm on. But yeah, I think he bounces back here after his first career loss. I did have money on. We both had money on Hyder Amil against Delgado when they fought. Just thought he was the type of prospect, Delgado that could drown and be slow cooked under Amil's pressure. But after seeing Delgado fight a veteran like Nathaniel Wood and go 3 hard rounds, though not getting the decision, I don't at all think losing to him is a bad look, even though Amil was finished in under 30 seconds with that knee up the middle. I think a result like that was bound to happen against someone of that level. But yeah, here Amil will be up against a veteran who was 4-5 in the UFC. Very ugly record with some ugly wins and losses. But he is coming off a round 1 knockout over Gabriel Miranda, who was shit. But definitely gives him some confidence going into this. And if he shows up on his game and can stay focused, he can look leagues ahead of Hyder Amil early. Like Emmers is a skilled fighter who is just a serial underachiever. Like he has a lot of good tools and attributes. He can be a slick and precise striker in there with fast, heavy hands. He's very athletic. He has a long reach and fights very well, tagging his opponents from the outside. He was actually originally a wrestler who developed his striking, so he's always got that in his back pocket. and he's a hard guy to take down overall. But there's just so many fights where he's doing well, being a step ahead of his opponent, and will just have a defensive lapse or negative IQ moment just leads to him losing. Like one bad example was him against Pat Sabatini, tagging him
Yeah.
up from distance, dropping him with strikes, and falling him to the ground where he even had full mount. But then Sabatini grabbed the leg to go for the heel hook, and what does Jamall Emmers choose to do? Stay there and try to get a toe hold against him, which is one of the most dumbest
Yeah.
like IQ moments you'll ever see
Shit
in
for
there.
range.
Like against a high level grappler like Sabatini, and not surprisingly, he was the one that tapped out in that battle again against Nate Landwehr. Emmers looked levels above him like early in that fight with his striking and just found himself out of position just once and just got caught and knocked out. So not only does he have negative IQ and bad decision making moments, but if he loses focus and gets hit, he can be finished pretty quickly too. So I think Emmers' path to victory is reliant on him getting a knockout, which can very well happen. Like Emmers is very accurate and has knockout power, and Amil, um, he is very hittable and is quite counterable too, as his punches are pretty wide. But the longer this fight goes, I believe Amil will just slowly cook him. And Amil's the type of fighter that weaponizes his cardio by like coming forward, constantly making you work. Whether he's throwing a flurry of hooks, blitzing forward, grinding you against the fence with clinch battles, or getting you on the ground, landing ground and pound from the top. Like no matter how technical his opponents are, he evens out the playing field by dragging them to deep waters. And with the history of a guy like Jamall Emmers, I think he's live to be finished a range of different ways. Like he could straight up just be blitzed and knocked out in the first 30 seconds, just like Amil did with Jong Yong Lee. Emmers could be looking at levels ahead, striking on the outside, catching Amil easily with jabs and combos, and then finding himself out of position and getting knocked out, just like he was with Landwehr. Emmers could also drop Amil and fail to get the stoppage, gas himself out. There's just plenty of ways that this could play out. But one thing I know is that if this is an extended fight, we've seen Amil stay relentless and drown opponents over the course of 15 minutes, even getting a decision win over William Gomez, who is a decision merchant and who I feel is a way better version of Emmers. And if Emmers does not find a knockout, he cannot be trusted to fight smart from distance and stay mistake free until the final bell. So I do have 2 units on Hyder Amil at -120.
Lovely breakdown. I think this is probably the most bettable fight on the entire card, to be quite honest. I think there's so many ways to play this fight. Like I'm gonna have a ton of action at some point on this fight. Like I'm in the exact same boat as you. I think this sums up Jamall Emmers pretty well. Like I feel like the thought of Jamall Emmers on paper is like actually pretty decent. Like he has some good tools and traits. Like he's got decent kickboxing, he's got good hand speed, he throws straight really well, he's long, he's rangy, he's like pretty well rounded. He can rely on his wrestling at points. He did in the Jenkins fight. But as you said, he's just got such bad fight IQ. He's so untrustworthy, and he slows down in fights. It really just draws back all those good traits. He mixes his shots well. He throws to the head body with hooks and straight shots. I think it's smart. What's not smart is the way he overextends and he really loads his shots up. Happens so frequently. He struggled against scrappy types before. He lands plenty of good shots, and I think if he wins, it's by a big stoppage early. But if he doesn't, I kind of think Emil's just going to walk him down and break him really any way he wants. I think Emmers needs this and wants this to be a clean fight, and I think this is going to be quite the opposite. Emil's just a fucking wild man. Like loves to move forward, brawl, get in your face, and just fight. I think Emmers is like a mixed martial artist, and Hyder is a fighter. I don't take too much stock away from his KO loss versus Delgado. I think when you have a style like Amil, one, that's going to happen, and two, I think that knee up the middle would have really almost put anyone that landed on out. And he was also like still trying to work up and move. So this guy is very, very hard to get out of there. He is vulnerable to boxing combos, particularly that straight cross, as he does keep his hands low and, does rely on wearing shots or trying to like inside outside slip and counter with hooks in the pocket. But I think he just has massive work rate upside after round one. So like, I do think Emmers could bonk him in round one. He has good speed and good straight shots, but really he's got upside of about 5 minutes, maybe even less with the pace that Amil fights at. So I feel like if you're going to bet Emmers, don't take the money line, just play round one. But overall, I just like under 2.5. I think it covers both sides. Potentially covers that mean bonk round one. It covers Amil breaking him late. I think you can play Amil round 2, Amil round 3, anything like that. I feel like there's multiple ways to play this fight, and all are pretty good options.
Yeah, I was personally going to ladder it. So just do 2 units, Hyder Amil, and then a bit on just his KO line, and then rounds 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's a lot of outlay for a guy that fights like Amil does, but I get it. Like it's you might want to hedge yourself with a round 1 Emmers cover or something like that. But I feel you.
Just a small.
Yeah, I feel you. We're on the exact same page here. Hyder got caught. It happens. He's going to get a finish here, I think. We both feel the same way. Probably a KO round 2, maybe round 3. Like you're getting big numbers too. Like Amil wins round 2 is like plus 700, maybe plus 800. Amil round 3 plus 1,000 to plus 1,100. Massive numbers for a guy whose upside is massive after round 1, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, to the main card, we have middleweight fight between Christian Leroy Duncan, 12-2, taking on Marco Tulio, 14-1. Prices, we have Marco Tulio, big favorite, minus 190. The comeback on CLD, plus 165. I'll kick us off with this one. Let's pull my notes up. Yep, so Marco Tulio, I mean, watching that Gore fight back was pretty rough. Like, he beat the absolute dog shit out of Gore. Look, he did get clipped with like a flash knockdown. He did eat a couple of big shots, but he ultimately just really flogged him. He looked to slow down a little bit, but I'm not really surprised given 1, the pace, and 2, the intensity he was striking with. Gore is Gore is a fighter who doesn't change angles or really use lateral movement. He's a much more hittable target to CLD. So I kind of feel like it's natural to question if Tulio throws his strikes again like that and he can't find the target, will he gas quicker? I think the answer is probably yes, to be honest. I think he's really dangerous when he throws combos, though. Like, he can be a little bit single shot oriented at times, but with his speed and power in the pocket, I think he'll be deadly with 2-3 punch combos. He's clearly got good power. He hurts most of his opponents, whether it's to the head or the body. Like, he finished Duclos on Contender Series with that spinning back kick to the body. Defensively, I feel like he sees shots coming pretty well and he's fairly responsible defensively. But I also think like getting touched big a couple of times by Gore is a little bit of a worry. Plus, I do worry the way he can tend to like lunge into range will have him in some worry against someone who's a good counter striker who like can see that first shot coming, avoid it, and then come back in with that counter mid combination. He's super athletic, super physical. He's very comfortable against the cage in the clinch. He's strong and he can hold there. He's got good elbows, good knees there. So I think Tulio has a pretty high ceiling for the division overall. Onto CLD. Like, I find this fight kind of interesting for CLD for a few reasons. It feels like it's pretty volatile for him. Like, he is going to be the most athletic and fast striker that Tulio's ever fought, but he's also not going to be able to really rely on his athleticism to be the edge in this fight like it has been, versus the likes of Anders, Puliev, Talul, etc. I didn't think the Anders fight was a great look. Like, he got the W, obviously, so you can't really knock that too much, but getting taken down and a few fouls, like, not the best showing, in my opinion. He can be hit, he can be hard to hit, but he also kind of has a lot of wasted movements at times, which I kind of just hate. The fight versus Robocop was an awful look. He literally had nothing to push back against the takedown attempts of Robocop. And when it hit the mat, he just was so easily controlled. And I think that's a real viable path to victory for Tulio here. And look, it's also not like he doesn't get hit. He does at times. I feel like it's hard not to favor Tulio in this spot. I do think CLD's speed could worry him, but I kind of think he's finish or bust. I think Tulio has big grappling upside and he can compete well enough on the feet. So, yeah, I think the price kind of feels fair, in my opinion. I'm not rushing to play Tulio or anything, but I think he probably wins this fight.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Tulio, incredible prospect, 2-0 in the UFC. He's beaten Ihor Peteria and Tresean Gore. Like, these are opponents that are like
shit,
way low level compared to CLD. But CLD, he's not beating incredible guys as well. Like, his wins are Eric Anders, Pulayev. Like, Pulayev is probably the best one as of recently, and he that was a pretty shit performance.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a good performance at all.
Not at all. And Claudio Ribeiro, Dennis Tululin, Dusko Todorovic. Like, these are guys that like Tulio would absolutely run through. I don't think Tulio is going to come out as aggressive as he did with Gore because I don't know. I just don't think this is the type of fight where it plays out to be like that high pace. I think I see a lot of just kickboxing from range. And the thing with CLD is, he's been able to rely on his athleticism, his speed, and he has like good attributes. And he's good from kickboxing range with his kicks. He's good in the boxing range. He's strong in the clinch. He throws a ton of flashy techniques from all ranges, like his flying knees and spinning elbows. I don't see any of them landing here. But the thing with him is he can fuck around too much. And one of the biggest examples of that was against Armin Petrosian. Like that fight was for him to win. And he was just trying to style on him, and it just didn't work out well. And on top of that, he underperforms a lot. That I know Robocop is a tough customer, but like he fucking shat the bed there. And first time looking at this fight, I was tempted to like find reasons to take CLD because of the experience and the fact. I do think the line is just a touch wide, but CLD hasn't been getting high level wins either, and I think Tulio has a higher ceiling. If Tulio keeps it simple, doesn't fight over aggressively, and put himself in danger, I think he can overwhelm CLD, who will just want to try to keep it as a clean looking fight. So I do think Tulio will be the one with more output, more forward pressure, and even if it's close and CLD has his moments, I think the judges will favor the one being more aggressive. So I'll take Tulio here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think like watching that Rodriguez fight back was really tough, to be honest. The way he was just put on his back and had really no answer. I worry that if Tulio gets him down here, he's in trouble, to be honest. I think he's going to be spend quite a few minutes off his back. And it does seem like every time that CLD gets these steps up, like you can see it in his career, right? He comes in against Dusko, gets even that wasn't the greatest performance. Like it was that knee injury finish. And then he gets a step up against Armin, loses, comes back down. Tallulah, Ribeiro, step up, Robocop, loses. Here he goes again. Pulayev, a little bit. I think Pulayev's all right, probably a bit lower still, but Anders lower. And now he gets Tulio, who's another step up. We'll see if history repeats itself, but it feels like it probably will. Let me just get a few of these comments. Banger fight, in my opinion. I think this will be a banger. And I think if CLD wins, it will be a finish. I just think it's probably more likely that Tulio has his way. Duncan is an absolute dog. If this stays standing, it's going to be close, I think. Honestly, Duncan can win, especially standing. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I think if he is to win, it's definitely standing.
Yeah, if it's distance striking, then he has every chance to win.
For sure. Like Tulio's getting hit by Gore. So CLD could do some... Like, both... How many spins are both guys going to do in this fight? Like, I'll be shocked if it's less. I'll set the line at 6.5, I reckon.
Oh, I'd go over 5.5.
I'd go overs, I reckon.
Yeah.
My coach fought Eric Enders on the regional scene years ago. Very nice. Where do you train and what do you train? He can fuck around too much. I know. He's got like the MVP where he'll like get hit and then do like the Ali shuffle, and you're like,
that's
what the fuck are you doing? You just got hit. This is so frustrating to watch. All right, up the card to Bantamweight. We have Ricky Simone, 22-6, taking on Raoni Barcelos. And you never know these Brazilian fucking names.
Raoni.
The prices, we have Ricky Simone -170. The comeback on Raoni +145. Ryan, take it away, my friend.
I'm very conflicted here. It was only 2 fights ago for both of these guys that I was saying that they were washed. Like Barcelos, obviously nearing 40 and going 2-4, beating Canonez and Trevin Jones and losing to Kyler Phillips, Umar, where he got knocked out, Timur Valiev and Victor Henry. Obviously, he then beat Peyton Talbot as a +700 dog, which was amazing, and recently beat the corpse of Cody Garbrandt. And for Ricky Simone, he's only in his 30s, but he was on a 3-fight losing skid, knocked out by Song Yadong in the 5th round of a fight he looked pretty shit in. He got dominated by Mario Batista and then styled on by Vinicius Oliveira. And those were fights where Ricky Simone looked like he regressed in his ability completely. He then got a massive knockout on Javid Basharat as a +200 dog and then beat Cameron Smotherman by decision in his last fight. I'll be honest, I don't have a good read. Like on the feet, I do think Barcelos has more dynamic attacks. He's very Jose Aldo like at times, and he could very well be winning exchanges. But Simone is that typical wrestler with a big overhand right kind of striker and got pretty good power behind him. And I think he could undo any of Barcelos's work with just one punch at any point. But both are primarily grapplers. However, Barcelos is a 5-time national wrestling champion in Brazil, high-level jiu-jitsu black belt. I think coral belt. Am I right?
100%.
Yeah, coral belt. So that's elite of the elite.
That's like the elite of the black belts. That's like you've been a
Yeah.
black belt for like 15 years or something crazy like that.
Yeah. And Ricky Simone, his bread and butter is his wrestling. And I just don't know what the exchanges look like. But both have great like takedown defense, but they're both comfortable like in the ground. Their takedowns are also hard to stuff. I tend to lean that Simone could rack up more control time, but Barcelos is just so crafty down there as well. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really know how this fight plays out. I do lean Ricky Simone, but I'd imagine you would have a better read than I do.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty like I'm with you. I think it's a pretty tricky one to get a read on. Like on Ricky, I think. Do you think it's fair to say that he's like a bit of a knockoff Marab? Would you say? Like I know that's funny to say because he beat Marab, but like I think they have very similar traits in that like they're both pretty small for the division. They both clearly have great wrestling and takedown entries. They clearly both lack on the BJJ pure submission front. And like their overall control is not brilliant. Like they're definitely letting guys get back to their feet and relying on mat returns and things like that. Like I think it's a pretty decent description. I'd say Ricky probably has better boxing and is also a little chinny and hittable, like similarly to Marab. He's coming off the back of that mismatch versus Smotherman where he just beat the dog shit out of him in every area. I'm also like I still really am impressed with the way he finished Basharat, a guy who's typically very safe and hard to finish. Like I think he lulled him into a false sense of security in the striking by really mixing in his takedown attempts. Like while they weren't successful, I think they made Basharat way too comfortable in close, and I think he was thinking of the takedown first before the hands that were coming at him, and he paid for it. Like he went out bad. That's still a tough one to watch back. Like I watched it the other day, obviously, and like the way his eyes, Basharat's eyes, were like coming back to his senses is fucking crazy to watch. So he was so out. It was really brutal. Prior to that, he obviously struggled bad versus Lockdog, which I think is normal given the pace, pressure, and overall physicality that guy fights at. So no stock loss there for me. Onto Barcelos, like even at this age and stage of his career, he's still as well-rounded as they come. Striking-wise, his kickboxing's decent. I like the output. I like the variety of kicks. Boxing's fine. I think durability is a little bit questionable at this point, naturally. So it could be a worry here just with how much Simone can load up and throw in the pocket. But I kind of feel like the fact he beat Garbrandt and Talbot, both of who I think have more speed, power, and danger on the feet, it does kind of give me a little bit of confidence in that department. But what scares me is that he's still taking damage in those fights, and it's damage he can't really afford to take at this point. I think he's going to have a lot of success in this fight versus Simone with the leg kicks. I think it's probably going to be his best weapon. Overall, like it feels like a pretty thin fight to find an edge in. I think both guys are going to have success in a back and forth sort of dogfight, scrappy style of fight. I really like unders at plus 200. I think it's awfully intriguing. Both guys have durability fading. Both guys can hurt each other on the feet. I think small submission upside for both potentially. So under 2.5 plus 200. Give me that all day.
Yeah, love it.
Okay, let me get through this. MMA gym in Arkansas. I teach striking now, USA. Very cool, very cool. Christ is king, my brother. Arkansas, very cool. We'll go fishing one day, eh? Go fishing in Arkansas. This fight is a dog fight too. I'm honestly excited. If Raoni wasn't so old, man, he could go somewhere. I'm going Ricky just on age. 100%. Like, yeah, Barcelos has been there, done that for sure. Mario Bautista couldn't get a takedown on Ricky, even though Ricky lost. He got 2 takedowns. Yeah, I think Barcelos is more live to like out scramble Ricky, if anything, on the ground, not necessarily have the offensive takedowns. If there's a bet I do on this, it's going to decision. Good luck. I feel like a decision bet is going to be pretty dicey to watch. Like I think both guys are going to like hurt each other at some point, whether they finish it or not. I feel like if you bet a decision, you'll probably be sweaty hands holding that ticket potentially. Lol, I've trained with him. Is that Bryce? I'm assuming you're talking. I wasn't referring to Bryce, but I'm assuming you're talking about Bryce. Okay, up the card. We have a lightweight scrap between Chris Padilla, 12-6, taking on Ismael Bonfim, 20-5. Prices, we're getting Ismael at -200. I fucking hate that name. I don't know why. And Chris Padilla at +170. I know you've got a bet on this fight. I know you've got a bit more conviction in this one. Do you want to lead off?
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Yeah, I'm a big Chris Padilla guy. He's won me some good money so far in his UFC run. Took him against Rongzhu and Jai Herbert at plus money. And here he is again at dog odds against Ismael Bonfim, who is a dangerous guy, but he's someone who has severely underperformed in the past. I think he's very exploitable, and he straight out got. I don't know if he quit in his last fight, but
what was the go there?
Yeah, he got head kicked and he didn't react well. I think he said he wanted to keep fighting, but his mannerisms were kind of giving officials the hint that he doesn't.
Yeah, because I remember watching it live, and I always thought it was a stoppage due to the cut. But then I watched it back, and I'm like, the cut wasn't even that bad. So it was obviously the corner stepped
absolutely fucked. Yeah, he was absolutely fucked from
that.
But yeah, look, Padilla, he's just a great story. He was shaping out to be another run-of-the-mill regional journeyman, trading wins and losses, but now he's on a 6-fight win streak, and he's really putting it together. He doesn't have the prettiest style of fighting, and there are openings, but he's very patient, and he's a very patient and calculated fighter. He watches a lot of tape on his opponents, and it really does show. He takes his time getting his reads, even happy to be in the back foot where he still stays busy with his sharp counters and heavy leg kicks. But when he finds his range, he is great at mounting up momentum, constantly catching his opponent with pretty diverse Muay Thai and boxing attacks. And he also has pretty good grappling in his back pocket. Well-timed takedown entries, stays busy on top, and works through positions while landing brutal ground and pound, looking to take the back and get that rear naked choke. I wasn't impressed with the win against Jai Herbert, which involved a lot of cage pushing and not much happening. But Herbert is a tricky guy who forced Padilla to be the one coming after him, and Padilla just played it smart in a boring fight. But give him the right opponent who'll be in his face and presenting a lot of targets and openings, and I think Padilla will deliver, and that's the kind of opponent he's getting this weekend. Bonfim is a very aggressive fighter who looks to catch guys on the way in with a big hook or overhand right, and times his spots to blitz forward with 4 to 5 punch combos, looking to just overwhelm them against the fence. He is predictable, however, and doesn't really give you different looks. His punches are a little wide. He moves in straight lines and can be too reactive, especially to feints. So if his opponent can fight fire with fire, stay calm, be defensively responsible and sharp with counters, they have every chance to win the fight. And I think Taco Padilla fits that mold. He has great timing. He's precise, keeps his hands high, and has good finishing instincts. Think back to the Rongzhu fight. He sort of let Rongzhu lead the dance for a while, kept the fight close. Then once he got his read, started catching him on the way in more regularly, and just timed that huge elbow as Rongzhu rushed forward that led to the stoppage. And Bonfim's last fight against Salikhov as well, he was being the aggressor, forcing Salikhov in the back foot, landing a ton of volume that didn't really land too clean on him. And then Salikhov caught him with that head kick towards the end. So I do think this fight could play out similarly to both Padilla's fight against Rongzhu and Bonfim's against Salikhov. I see Bonfim setting the pace, working on the front foot, throwing flurries that do land on Padilla, but doesn't quite hurt him. And as Padilla gains confidence, I see him opening up more and more, and I do see him landing some really significant shots that get big reactions from Bonfim. I think Bonfim lands more volume, but Padilla lands more significant and damaging shots throughout the fight. I did play him at plus 180. I think he either gets a 29-28 decision or a round 2 or round 3 TKO.
Great breakdown, man. I'll go over this one pretty quickly. I'll start with Ismael. I think first thing to note that's important is Ismael's taking this fight on 3 weeks' notice, roughly, to obviously be on the same card as his brother. I immediately don't love that for a guy who's already shown to be a bit of a flake down the stretch. I think he's just an okay striker. He's average in the way that he can win moments against guys who are worse than him for sure. But I do think against, really good strikers, he's going to get caught a step behind generally. He fights out of orthodox, average power, speed overall. I think he's okay when he dictates the fights and he's moving forward. Like his hands do tend to get a little low for my liking, but he's fine. Typical fight versus Nazim last time out. I fucking hate that guy so fucking much. Like he had a decent amount of success. He looked fine. He looked like he was gonna, in my opinion, gonna win that fight until Nazim pulled off that fucking random miracle type stoppage that he always seems to do. After landing that shitty question mark style kick. It wasn't even like a question mark. It was like he was bringing the knee up, tried to go for the question mark. It was so random. Like I'm fucking so over Nazim pulling this shit off. I'm still kind of surprised, like I said to you, that the corner stopped the fight there, but it is what it is. He also won the Pichel fight, like, okay, but I don't know. I kind of expected him to do slightly better versus Pichel in his retirement spot.
Oh, yeah.
On to Padilla, like, I don't think he's a particularly gifted fighter in really any facet of the game, but it's hard to deny that he does extremely well with his game, given that. I think he's, like, serviceable enough anywhere without being brilliant anywhere. He's also quite defensively sound, really nice high guard, good checks on kicks, good distance management. I like the way he leads with his elbows at times for two reasons. One, it allows him to keep his head and chin tucked low and hidden behind his boxing guard. And two, it also uses minimal output for maximum damage, typically by his opponents, lunging into range. He got very close with it a couple of times versus Herbert, and he nailed Zhu wrong and turned the fight with it. I don't think he's like a necessarily amazing wrestler, but like he can mix grappling and clinching rather well and quite timely, to be honest, mostly to sway rounds. My main worry in this fight is that Padilla can be so placid at times that I kind of think he may allow Bonfim to fight the style of fight that he's best at, which is when he's moving forward. But honestly, I don't feel like Bonfim has enough edge in any area to really dominate this fight and cover that minus 200 mark. So, yeah, I'm with you. It's dog or pass to me. I think fight kind of has split decision, sort of close, icky decision written all over it. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's dog or pass. I'm passing, but I think Padilla's a fine bet at the number, to be quite honest.
Love it.
Okay, let me go through these. Bryce, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty fucking cool. How was it? Padilla is that dude. He's the underdog as well. Taco Padilla sounds like a superstar name. Sounds like a few types of names. I don't know how I found y'all, but y'all know your stuff. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, brother.
And welcome on board. I think it's completely dog got past. Great. I think it'll be a relatively fun fight though. We'll see what happens. Okay, up the card to welterweight. We have Muslim Salikhov 22-5 taking on Uros Medic 11-3. Prices, we have a Medic minus 175 and a Salikhov plus 150. Okay, I'm going to lead this one off when I find my notes very, very quickly on this. Okay, Salikhov. It's very clear to me that this old motherfucker can still crack. The way he murked like Liao and Song, very impressive. I think the way he backs up on a straight line a little too much, relies on his distance management. I'm saying that like his defense is that he relies on his distance management rather than being a really good defensive fighter. It could be an issue versus opponent who moves forward well and fast and throws straight down the pipe, which I think Medic does moderately okay. He loves to spin, whether it's a feint or a subtle, shoulder drop. He loves to throw to the spinning back kick to head and body, and has had success with it his whole career. Kicking output overall extremely solid. No surprise with that, taekwondo, karate sort of background. I'd say his only really bad performance was versus Randy Brown, and to me that's just an awful matchup stylistically for him, like someone who's also content to fight at kicking range but is like the bigger, longer fighter. So it's a pretty tough matchup, that one for him. On to Medic, like how do you wait getting dropped by a cross from Urbina in the first 10 seconds of a fight? Because to me that's fucking awful look. An awful look. I know it was more of a flash knockdown than anything, but still it's an extremely bad look. And if that's not bad enough, getting finished in 30 seconds to a fucking dog shit Puna Soriano, tough. I think it's pretty clear what Medic is at this point. He's a southpaw kickboxer who's got decent upside in round one to bonk, but I think like any, moderate pace, pressure, ability to land on his chin and test his poor durability is really going to trouble him. Like even more, a few fights before that, I was on the Semmelsberger. Sorry, I was on that Semmelsberger versus Medic fight. I was on Medic in that one, and to be honest, that was a get out of jail free card to win that because he had no right to win that fight. He was getting walked down like a dog, and if he doesn't win that, he's fucking 2-3 or 2-4 in his last 5 or 6. So it like just a bad record. Look, like I said, I do think he has some of the striking tools that you need to potentially trouble an older Salikhov, but even at this point, I feel like besides a mean bonk early, Salikhov feels way more trustworthy. So, yeah, for me, I've got a unit on Salikhov at plus 150. I think it's completely dog or pass, and I'm pretty content to be on the dog here.
Yep, I like it. Another thing, under 1.5 rounds, surely. I'll be surprised if it escapes the first. Like Salikhov, 15 finishes in round 1, and Medic, 8 round 1 finishes too. So, and both have been knocked out in the first round in the past, like Salikhov getting murked by Randy Brown, while Medic was knocked out by Puna. I'm going to ride with the underdog at plus 165. Give me Muslim Salikhov. Like this could come down to who lands the first clean punch, and I think it should be a pick'em with slight favoritism to Medic because of the youth advantage. Like I will say, Salikhov is just an anomaly to me. Like he's 41. Just when you think he's on his way out, like after he got slept by Randy Brown, he then beat a very washed Ponzinibbio in a very questionable split decision. After that, he then gets like 2 highlight reel round 1 knockouts over Song Kanan and Carlos Leal. He just looked great in there. And I've never been the biggest Uros Medic backer. I actually tend to try and fade him. Like he has no high level wins, in my opinion. He is a very skilled and technical kickboxer and he does have fight ending power, but I still think he's a flake. And when his face steps up in competition, like Jalen Turner, Oral By, and Soriano, he was put away. And Soriano wasn't even a step up in competition too. The reason why I'll be riding with the much older fighter with confidence, first off, he's the most least hit fighter in the UFC. Like he absorbs like 2.92 strikes per minute with a defense percentage of 62%, and that's like data from like 12 fights. Like that's very impressive in its own right. And though Medic is much taller, younger, faster, and will be able to land from far away, getting chinned by Puna Soriano is definitely concerning.
No.
Also, getting dropped by Urbina and Semmelsberger before he won those fights. And if you're getting dropped by guys of the striking caliber of Soriano, Urbina, Semmelsberger, even going life and death with Matthew Semmelsberger, I do think Salikhov will have a good chance of chinning you. Salikhov's style is effective no matter what the pace of the fight is as well. Like ideally, he loves his slow pace where he can like lull his opponent into a false sense of security, time a big strike, and then get back out of range, and then like kind of taking a deep breath and then timing his next attack. He is deceptively fast, and when he hits the go button and lands clean, you're most likely going to sleep. And if opponents rush him as well and are in his face, he's great at being calm and staying defensive and landing the perfect counter, just like he did with Leal in his last fight. And if Medic comes in with other approaches, like getting in Salikhov's face, I don't think that'll be a good idea for him. And playing the distance striking game gives Salikhov every chance to like get his find that big shot. So of course I'm not going to downplay Medic's ability because I won't be surprised if he gets a knockout as well. But if you're giving me plus 165 on Salikhov, and given the reasons I just gave, it's a must bet for me. So yeah, I put 1.25 units on Salikhov. I'll probably play the unders.
Yeah, I'm with you. The only reason I'm not rushing to play the unders is because it's minus 160. So for under 1.5. So like it's not, you're not getting plus money. So that's the only reason I'm not, rushing to play it. But I think it probably hits. But you're getting a bit like I think Salikhov's the better striker in a striking fight. That's enough. That's enough for me. If he gets bonked, he gets bonked. But it is what it is.
Absolutely.
Glad we're on the same page on that one. Feels like he's a pretty public dog this week, so that always worries me a little bit. But anyway, there was 50 people there with Bryce when I trained with him. I barely got any interaction. Everyone fanboy him, so you got to be careful who he actually rolls with. Yeah, fair enough. He just don't die though. I think that's about Salikhov. Yeah, he's fucking crazy. I think UFC favors Medic. They gave him matchups that favor his style. This one is a test, but I think it's on purpose. Like Medic asked for it. Probably it might be my tin foil hat theory.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I could be. I just outside of a bonk round one, I really don't see any upside here for Medic. I really don't. I think Salikhov could potentially like pull out some fucking random takedown as well, to be honest, and have top time. Like I really think he could, which sounds crazy, but Medic just has nothing. And what do
Yeah.
you think Liao would have done to Medic? He would have fucking beat that boy like he owed
Yeah.
him money.
Yeah. Like outside of getting like caught with like a knee up the middle, like Liao would have just probably bonked him.
Oh man, he would have beat that ass, man. Honestly, he would have. But yeah, it's hard to know. Salikhov just hanging around, man, just hanging around. Okay, flyweight. Matt Schnell, co-main event of the evening. Matt Schnell, 17-9, taking on Joseph Morales, 14-2. Prices, Morales, massive favorite, -300. The comeback on Matt Schnell, +250. Did I start last one or did you?
I think you started the last one.
Okay.
I don't have a big breakdown on this. I don't know why this is a co-main.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope they change it. Matt Schnell, like at this point of his career, like sucks. He just won a competitive decision against Jimmy Flick, who was a grappler bus counter fighter, and he gave Flick chances there to win that fight, with Flick even winning the first round. Joseph Morales is on his comeback tour. He had an unsuccessful first stint in the UFC where he lost to Figgy, which is not the worst look, and I forgot who else he lost to, but after that, he went 3-0 into regionals, won all his fights in the Tough House, won the Tough Finale, showcasing pretty high-level grappling and control against a Kazakh guy who would probably beat Schnell easily. I do think Joseph Morales just gets a takedown in the first round, gets Schnell out of there, whether it's TKO or sub. I'm pretty sure Schnell he retired and like unretired.
Yeah, he did.
So yeah, I think odds should be wider if anything. So I think Morales is very parlayable.
Yeah, I don't have a big one on this either. Like, I didn't take anything positive away from that Schnell versus Flick fight. Flick couldn't finish a fucking 10-year-old kid on the feet. And the fact that Schnell didn't break and finish him around 2 and 3, I think that speaks volumes where he's at in his career. Morales, like, I think he has a low ceiling overall in the division, but I think he's just going to walk Schnell down, and he's going to be able to out-grapple him with ease here. He's a much better scrambler. He's got subs on top and off his back. I think the issue is that Schnell can be KO'd too, so it's kind of hard to get interested in necessarily a prop angle. I kind of think Morales just rolls here. I'm just not sure how to play it, to be honest. I think he finishes. I'm just not sure if it's a KO or a sub. Could be either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird matchup. Probably the best way to put it. It's
weird
just,
co-main event.
It's just weird. It's weird. They're giving Morales all this shine randomly. Hasn't even fought in the hasn't properly fought in the UFC again.
Yeah.
So it's a strange.
I know. I could choose maybe 3 or 4 other fights here that would be a more suitable co-main.
100%. 100%. It's fucking weird. Maybe it's just because they think it's going to be violent. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay, main event time. Gabriel Bonfim, 18-1, taking on Randy Brown, 20-6. Prices, we have a Bonfim -185. The comeback on Randy Brown +160. I'll kick us off here. I'll start with Bonfim. Look, I'm going to be honest. I don't love the guy, but I genuinely think he has elite jiu-jitsu. Like, he's going to be an issue for anyone. And if he takes you back, he really will threaten you there. He's also, more than happy to jump guillotines or switch to arm bars, all sorts of stuff. I hand up, I think he has elite jiu-jitsu. Like, Wonderboy historically has amazing sub defense, so I'm not really shocked that he didn't sub him, but he still threatened him really badly at points. Yeah. I was also kind of impressed with some of the hooks that Bonfim was able to land on Wonderboy. He caught him off guard, and he seemed to really stun him a few times without, really, really hurting him. But I really was impressed with that. My main issue is that I think his upside in fights is majority round 1 and 2, and then it's kind of minimal from there. So like a 5-round main event, I'm not particularly, I don't think it's particularly appealing as a proposition for Bonfim, in my opinion. On to Randy Brown, like watching that Derby fight back was so insane. He put some serious damage on Dalby. Like, I forgot how nasty that broken nose was in round 1. And that entire finishing sequence was so brutal. It honestly reminded me of, what's that MMA movie? Like the, the one Warrior? Where that, hey?
Never Back Down, Warrior.
Yeah, Never Back Down. Where, where the bad guy knocks him out early in that, like in his first fight. the
Yeah.
way that he went down, it honestly reminded me of that movie. It brought back like these crazy memories about that. Brown, I think Brown is like main eventing it about a bad time, to be honest. Like, given that eye pokes are the number one topic in the sport, besides the
Oh yeah.
gambling issue. Like Randy Brown is Jamaican Cyril Gane in terms of that. So I'm a little bit worried that this fight, he might get a point taken away or really get fucked in terms of that. But I've always worried about Brown's striking defense. He just leaves himself so open in the pocket to hooks, and which admittedly Bonfim looked pretty dangerous there versus Wonderboy. I also think Brown's always kind of live to just dictate fights with his awkward range and his long jab. And I definitely think that's an outcome here. And I also think he has bigger upside 3-4-5 versus Bonfim. So I think Bonfim's price is really heavily weighted early. And I do think he has big finishing upside in that period. So to me, I would almost want to play his ITD prop versus his moneyline price. Brown's like also got power in the hands and incredibly dangerous if you let him fight the style of fight that he wants. So I think he could potentially turn up later and put it on Bonfim. I think I lean Bonfim slightly to Brown's susceptibility to hooks in the pocket. And I also think that Bonfim's like decent sub upside equity early is kind of interesting. So I'm looking at Bonfim's sub. I think he probably wins, but I'm not rushing to play this one, to be honest.
Yeah, nice breakdown, man. At these numbers, I have to play Randy Brown. Like, I always play Brown at dog odds. I thought he was a good bet against Brian Battle, even though he lost.
We were both on that one.
Yeah, we were. And I just tend to bet on him a lot in general. I really like his style and the weapons he brings. I get it. Bonfim has a shiny 18-1 record. He's 28, only getting better. But Brown is a tricky veteran who is like taller, longer, very athletic. He does have solid takedown defense, and he's a dog in there. And if you make the kinds of mistakes that Bonfim does pretty often, the power like Brown has will be consequential. As for Bonfim, he's definitely on a upwards trajectory. Like, ran more than his brother, that's for sure. Ran through his opponents when he got into UFC. Had his fraud check moment against Nicholas Dalby where he blew his load and ran out of gas. Came back and fought more conservative in his next few fights with clear improvements to his cardio and actually shown to have like very solid technical Muay Thai. Like he beat Angelusa and Chaos Williams pretty easily in those fights. And then in his last fight, edged out a split decision against Wonderboy where he probably should have lost. But we have seen like prospects have shaky performances against vets, get the close win, and then come back way better. So
I've seen worse decisions than that, though, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, same here. So I see why he's favored. He's favored against the 35-year-old here, but I do think the line is a bit wide, and Bonfim should be around maybe the minus 120 to 125 range. In saying that, you touched on this. I'd put his win equity to be in rounds 1 and 2. I know he supposedly fixed his cardio because he doesn't go all guns blazing out anymore, but that might work to Randy's advantage that he doesn't go out in that style. Like how I see it, Bonfim will cover his price if he bull rushes him, muscles his way down to the ground, and gets a quick sub, just like he used to fight before the Derby loss. Like Brown does have good takedown defense, but if Bonfim went all out, I've no doubt he can just get him to the mats or even find a TKO on him. And Brown has struggled with high pressure fighters that don't give him any space to breathe and can overwhelm him. And if you get him uncomfortable in the get go, he can just fall apart in there. And but if in Bonfim's first 5-round main event against a seasoned veteran, I don't think he comes out looking like that. I think he wants to be more careful with his gas tank. And if the fight starts and Bonfim is happy to strike from distance for a while, I think Randy will be pretty comfortable and gives him the opportunity to like ease into the fight, get his reads, and start feeling himself.
And doing the fucking Ali shuffle 100 times.
Yeah, doing that too. And while they're fresh, I see the striking being close. Like Bonfim has tricky Muay Thai and can throw off Randy's rhythm with his kicks, but Randy has good footwork, very good defense, like particularly his head movement and off his slips and rolls, he has pretty sharp counters and straight shots down the middle that could catch Bonfim out of position. Bonfim does get a little overzealous in there and sometimes forgets about his defense as he's coming forward. And Randy does solid work in the pocket too, with like short hooks and uppercuts that have a lot of pop in them. And since Bonfim stands pretty upright, I can see him getting hit with one of these short punches over the top if they get in a clinch battle, but also like that could work the other way around. Like Bonfim has nice hooks that could land on Brown. The threat of the takedown will definitely play a big part in this fight. So Randy might be a little tentative. And I actually do expect like early takedowns and control time for Bonfim. So it all comes down to Randy like staying safe there. He has been subbed twice in the past. One was very early in his career, and the JDM one came off a big knockdown. And if Randy can just get this fight to round three, I do think Bonfim will start to get sloppier as fatigue sets in. His takedowns will be easier to stuff, and if they're both slugging it out on the feet as the fight goes deep, I trust Randy to still be composed in there with his defense, sharp with his counters, and being the one landing the more effective shots. I don't think Bonfim will death gas like he did against Dolby, but his movement will be a bit more labored from rounds 3 onwards. Like he'll be closing the distance with his head still in the center line. He'll be overcommitting to punches and finding himself off balance, and he has so many openings that can be exploited. And by someone as pinpoint accurate as Brown can be at times, it could be like very consequential for him. So I know Brown hasn't fought 5 rounds either, but I have seen him still fresh and fighting effectively in like round 3s of his fights. And if this fight's over in the first 2 rounds, I do give it to Bonfim. I do favor him to win this fight, but Randy Brown at these numbers, I got to go with him. I think he wins maybe a 48-47, gets a late finish, or even a decision. So yeah, give me Randy Brown.
Very nice, man. Nice breakdown. I think I'm like, you know what I can't get out of my head? The way Zaleski took his back and had him deep in that rear naked choke. I know JDM did it off a knockdown, but I could see that happening, to be honest. I could see Bonfim clipping him somehow in the pocket and then like jumping a guillotine or taking his back and submitting him. It's a worry, but I agree with you. Like, I almost think if I was to play Brown, I'd probably just wait. Like, I'd probably just wait after round 1 or like, wait after 10 minutes and then get in live. I think it just would make it less volatile of a fight, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, the dog play on Brown makes complete sense. So I completely understand that.
Yeah, and to add to the volatility of this fight, like his brother's fighting like maybe 3 fights behind this. So
yeah, after our boy Padilla fucking finishes him with a step-in elbow,
you got to think there's like an adrenaline dump from seeing your brother either like win or loses.
How good would that be? Just seeing Padilla just fucking straight into his chin, bang.
And then I reckon Bonfim will be the type to think that it's an eye poke, try to stop the fight.
yeah, I could see that.
Just like wrong
I'm going Randy, avenging Wonder Boy. I was there for that robbery. Randy is going in there to fight while Bonfim is going in there to play a game. I hope he lands 3 eye pokes and a KO in the 5th and a dick kick after the KO.
I like your style.
Yeah, could happen. Hey, fouls are legal. Fouls are legal in MMA these days, so go nuts. Okay, we're going to run bottom to top, final picks, and we're going to get the hell out of here. Okay, ready to go?
Yes, sir.
This fight's not happening, but Jackson McVeigh versus Dante Johnson.
Dante Johnson.
Yeah, ×2. Miles Johns or Daniel Marcos.
Daniel Marcos.
Yep, Daniel Marcos for me. Tisha Pennington or Denise Gomes.
Denise Gomes.
Yeah, I really wanted to get to Tisha, but it's going to be a Gomes for me as well. Josh Hockett, Max Jimenez.
Max Jimenez.
Yep, Max Jimenez for me too. Mara Breda Silva or Jacqueline Cavalcanti.
Cavalcanti.
Yep, Cavalcanti for me as well. Adria, that's the fight's not even happening, but we'll get back to that. Hyder Amil, Jamall Emmers.
Hyder Amil
for me too. Christian Leroy Duncan, Marco Tulio. Yeah, I think I slightly favor Tulio. Ricky Simone, Raoni Barcelos.
Simone.
I don't know. I'm just going to stay off the side and go under 2.5. Hope for some violence, I think. Chris Padilla, Ismael Bonfim.
Taco season, Padilla.
Yeah, taco season, baby. Let's go. Muslim Salikhov, Uros Medic.
Salikhov.
Yep, Salikhov for me too. Matt Schnell, Joseph Morales. Yeah, Joseph Morales, probably submission, I would imagine. Gabriel Bonfim, Randy Brown. I think Bonfim might submit him round 1 or 2. That's my ultimate guess, but we'll see. I subbed here. Is there a second channel since there's 2 of you? No. We do the live stream off this channel, which is my channel. We do some other sports related content. So if you like that, have a look. But other than that, you can find Ryan at Desperate Times with a Z1 on Twitter. You can find me at Provide Picks on Twitter also. Ryan puts all his bets out for free on there with his breakdown. So make sure you give him a follow there. We'll follow back and, keep the community growing over there. So, yeah, make sure you let us know your Twitter. We'll give you a follow. And hopefully we'll see you around a bit more often. But other than that, thank you to everyone who's tuned in or will tune in. We've got a fair amount of action on this card, so I'm pretty keen for this one.
Same here.
Next week, we have UFC 322, I believe it is.
Yeah, 322, babe.
322, Islam versus JDM. Very, very keen for that one. Again, a fucking great card, so I'm really keen to be back for that one. I'm actually in Canada, so we'll have to sort out something with the stream, but maybe we'll do it a little bit later in the week when I'm back, but we'll chat about that off stream, obviously. But other than that, thanks everyone for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, share it with your mates. Follow Ryan on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Other than that, it's been another episode of the Wager Wise MMA podcast.